Hi, I'm Aitana. I've been working as a paralegal at the county courthouse for almost 8 months now, the longest I've managed to keep a job in the past 3 years. Not for lack of trying, believe me. I was organizing case files in the records room when Leo, our court administrator, poked his head in. Got a minute? I need to discuss something with you. I followed him to his office, my stomach already knotting. His expression had that same look my previous bosses got right before they let me go. We've had some concerns about your reliability, missing deadlines, showing up late, that sort of thing. I stared at him, completely confused. But I'm always early, and I've never missed a deadline. You can check the logs. Leo shuffled through some papers, frowning. Well, I've received information suggesting otherwise. Maybe it's a misunderstanding, but I thought you should know it's been brought to my attention. Walking back to my desk, my mind raced through my previous jobs. The marketing firm where my supervisor suddenly questioned my design skills. The accounting office where files supposedly went missing. The retail job where money was short on my register, even though I triple-counted everything. You look like someone just stole your lunch, Marcus said, rolling his chair over to my desk. We'd started on the same day, and he was the closest thing I had to a friend here. Just another cryptic meeting with Leo. Apparently, I'm unreliable now. That's ridiculous. You're the only one who knows where anything is in this place. I sighed. Tell that to whoever's feeding him this garbage. Marcus looked uncomfortable. Actually, I might know something about that. My head snapped up. What? I was dropping off mail earlier and heard someone on the phone with Leo. A woman. She was saying stuff like, she can barely hold a job, and I'm only telling you as a concerned mother. The room seemed to tilt. Are you sure? The name Victoria came up. Isn't that your mom's name? My whole body went cold. Again. It was happening again. I need to check something, I mumbled, diving for my phone and scrolling through my call history. 3 calls from Mom yesterday, all ignored. I hadn't spoken to her in weeks. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. Where are you going? Marcus called after me. To get proof. 30 minutes later, I was sitting in my car in the courthouse parking lot, staring at my laptop screen in disbelief. I'd called my previous employer at the marketing firm, claiming I needed employment verification. Oh, Aitana. Of course I remember you. Such a shame about your mother's concerns. My mother's concerns? She called us several times about your condition, said we should watch your work carefully. When those designs came in late, well, we just assumed. My designs were never late, I whispered. That's not what your mother said. She was quite insistent that we shouldn't enable your, what did she call it? Professional victimhood? I thanked her and hung up. Then I made 2 more calls. Same story, different variations. My mother, Victoria, had been systematically destroying every job I'd managed to get. And now she was working on this one too. I drove straight to Mom's house, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. When I pulled into her driveway, I spotted Diana's car already there. Great. Mom's best friend and enabler was joining the party. I used my old key and stormed in. Mom and Diana were at the kitchen table, looking startled at my entrance. Why are you calling my workplace? And my previous jobs? Mom blinked innocently. What are you talking about, honey? Are you having problems at work again? Don't honey me. I just got off the phone with 3 previous employers. They all said you called them with concerns about me. Diana leaned forward. Aitana, your mother is just worried about you. You haven't exactly had a stable employment history. Because she's been sabotaging me. And now she's doing it again at the courthouse. Mom stood up. I think you're having one of your episodes. Remember what Dr. Friedman said about stress-induced paranoia? I never saw a Dr. Friedman. You made that up too. See what I mean, Diana? This is exactly why I had to call her supervisor. I left before I said something I'd regret, but not before noticing emails open on her laptop, one addressed to Judge Hayes. Back at the courthouse, Marcus was waiting for me. How'd it go? She denied everything, then basically admitted it. And now she's targeting Judge Hayes. Marcus pulled me into an empty conference room. I've been thinking, this has happened at every job, right? What's the pattern? I get hired, do well, then suddenly there are concerns about my performance. And your mom always knows details she shouldn't know about your workplace? I nodded. She mentioned specifics about cases I was working on, information that wasn't public. Someone's feeding her information from inside. Has to be. We spent the next hour making a timeline of my employment history. Marcus set up a recording app on my phone. Call her. Get her talking about why she's doing this. When Mom finally answered, I kept her talking about why she contacted my employers. Someone has to tell them the truth about you. What truth? That you're unstable, unreliable, just like your father. I recorded 5 minutes of her admissions before she hung up. The next morning, I was called into a formal review with Leo and HR. As I walked in, I noticed Judge Hayes in the hallway, watching with interest. Aitana, we've received some concerning communications about your work history. From my mother? Leo looked surprised. Yes, actually. And she's provided documentation that suggests fabricated documentation. I interrupted, pulling out my phone and a folder. And I can prove it. Leo and HR stared at my evidence folder in shock. The recordings of Mom admitting she'd called my previous employers left them speechless. After the meeting, Marcus caught up with me in the hallway. So, what happened? They believe me, but they can't do much legally unless she does it again. Then let's make sure she does it again. But this time, we'll be ready. We ducked into an empty jury room and Marcus laid out his idea. What if we set up a fake employment hearing? Make it look like you're under serious review. Your mom would definitely show up to trash you. And say what? That I'm a terrible employee with no proof? Exactly. But instead of a performance review, it'll actually be a hearing about parental harassment and workplace sabotage. I grinned for the first time in days. You're evil. I love it. We were so caught up in our planning that we didn't notice Judge Hayes until she cleared her throat from the doorway. Interesting conversation. Mind if I join? My heart dropped. Your Honor, I can explain. No need. I've been watching this situation unfold. Your mother contacted me directly last week. Oh God, what did she say? That you were mentally unstable and shouldn't be handling sensitive court documents. Rather outlandish claims. Marcus looked nervous. So, you know about our plan? I know enough, and I'm offering to help. Judge Hayes sat down and explained how we could set up a legitimate hearing about workplace harassment. She'd preside, making it official. We'll need evidence that she's continuing this behavior. Can you get that? Already working on it, I said, showing her the emails I'd found. 3 days later, I called Mom with Judge Hayes and Marcus listening in. Hey, Mom, I have to appear at a hearing about my job performance next Tuesday. They're probably going to fire me. Well, what did you expect? You've never been able to hold a job. The court administrator said they need character witnesses, people who know my work history. I'll be there. Someone needs to tell them the truth about you. Are you sure? It might get complicated. Please. I've been dealing with your failures for years. I know exactly what to say. After hanging up, Judge Hayes nodded approvingly. Perfect. Now we need to talk to Diana. The next day, I accidentally ran into Diana at the grocery store. Aitana, how are you holding up, sweetie? Not great. Did Mom tell you about my hearing? She did. She's preparing her statement now. Statement? What's she planning to say? Diana leaned in, lowering her voice. Just what she's always said. That you're unstable, unreliable. She's bringing the doctor's notes. What doctor's notes? The ones she had made up about your condition. Don't worry, they look very official. I kept my face neutral. That's good to know, thanks. Back at the courthouse, I relayed everything to Judge Hayes. Forged medical documents? That's crossing into criminal territory. So we're really doing this? Absolutely. The hearing is set for Tuesday at 10 a.m., courtroom C. Everything's in place. Marcus squeezed my shoulder. She'll never know what hit her. Tuesday morning arrived with my stomach in knots. I watched from a side room as Mom strutted into courtroom C with Diana trailing behind her, both dressed like they were heading to a victory party. Marcus squeezed my hand. "You ready for this?" "As ready as I'll ever be." Judge Hayes entered, and everyone rose. I slipped into the courtroom and sat in the back row. "We're here today regarding a case of workplace harassment and sabotage," Judge Hayes announced. Mom looked around, confused. "I thought this was about Aitana's job performance." "It is, in a way. Miss Victoria Thompson, you've been subpoenaed to testify about your interference with your daughter's employment." Mom's face went white. "There must be some mistake." "No mistake. Please approach the stand." As Mom was sworn in, Leo handed Judge Hayes a thick folder of evidence, my recordings, emails, and statements from previous employers. "Miss Thompson, have you contacted your daughter's current and previous employers without her knowledge?" "I was only looking out for her best interests. She's unstable." "And what evidence do you have of this instability?" Mom pulled out a folder. "I have documentation from Dr. Friedman." "A doctor Aitana has never seen? These forged medical documents?" "They're not forged. Tell them, Diana." Diana sank lower in her seat, suddenly very interested in her purse. "Let me understand this," Judge Hayes continued. "You've systematically contacted each of your daughter's employers, provided false information about her mental health, and fabricated documents to support these claims?" "Someone had to. She can barely hold a job. She's incompetent." "Is that so? Aitana, would you stand, please?" I stood, and every head turned toward me. This young woman has been working in my courtroom for 8 months. In that time, she has reorganized our entire filing system, trained 3 new paralegals, and prepared more accurate court documents than anyone in my 15 years on the bench. Mom stammered. "But she's been running this courtroom," Judge Hayes thundered, rising to her feet. "Well, you've been running a campaign of harassment and slander." Leo stepped forward. "Your Honor, we have employment records showing a pattern of stellar performance followed by sudden termination at each of Miss Thompson's previous jobs, coinciding with contact from her mother." Judge Hayes nodded. "Miss Thompson, this court finds you guilty of harassment, slander, and forgery of medical documents. You are hereby ordered to cease all contact with your daughter's place of employment. You'll face fines of $5,000 and community service. A restraining order will be issued." Mom's face crumpled. "But she's my daughter." "A daughter you've deliberately sabotaged for years." 2 weeks later, I was settling into my new office. Judge Hayes had promoted me to head paralegal with a substantial raise. Mom was waiting by my car after work. "Aitana, please. I was only trying to help you. I'm sorry." "Sorry you got caught, you mean?" "No, truly sorry. I realize now what I did was wrong. Can you forgive me?" I looked at her, really looked at her for the first time in years. All I saw was someone who had tried to destroy me. "No, I can't. And I won't. Goodbye, Mom." As I drove away, I felt lighter than I had in years. Free. Finally free. What would you do if you discovered a family member had been deliberately destroying your career for years? At what point is cutting off a toxic parent completely justified, even when they beg for forgiveness? Share your thoughts in the comments. Would you have made the same choice as Aitana? Or would you have given your mother another chance? If you enjoyed this revenge story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of justice served. New stories uploaded every day.